Hi all, welcome on Travels and Code channel. Today I will show you how to configure Storybook for React application, what is Storybook and why do we need it. Here's a small agenda what we are going to cover. First of all, it will be why do we need it, why do we need Storybook, how to install it, how to configure, what is Storyshots, it means how can we generate snapshot testing automatically based on Storybook and Storyshots and stories. Also, I will cover a few add-ons. What is add-on and the most popular add-ons and what I use often is Action, Knobs, React Live Edit, Internationalization and Accessibility. Plus, I will show some demo how it works in configured environment. So let's discuss what is Storybook and why do we need it. Storybook is some kind of environment where you can test your components and develop them independently, and each component will be developed independently, and you can check how it will look with different props, with different styles, with different parameters, and it will be not related to your application. So it's very great approach for developing UI components, UI library, where you need to check each component independently and how it will look in different states with different props. Okay, what is Storybook? We can visit Storybook.js org site, and first of all we need to install the Storybook. I will use Storybook for a small React application with a few components, and then it will help me to check a few components what I want to test. First of all, we need to install Storybook. Here we have a few options. We can install it for HTML or for different environments or libraries. I'm not going to pass any type, it will find out environment automatically and install proper version. So let's install it. Okay, so now we see that everything is installed, everything is successful. We can check changes in our application. So let's open package.json. Here we can see a few additional commands in scripts. It's Storybook and build Storybook. Also, we can see that we have a few dev dependencies additional. It's add-ons, the default add-ons, actions, and the Storybook React. Also, we can see that we have a new folder. It's Storybook with two files. It's config and add-ons. Let's try to run it and see what's happening. First of all, we need command. We will call command yum storybook and we will check what's going on and how it looks. We are loading our storybook, and here we can see that it's right now it's empty storybook, but we have some demo component. It's text and emoji text. Now we can see how it looks. Also, we can see that add-on actions already works. We can see that it was clicked, and we can check what a lot of properties of this click event. So this one works fine. Let's check how it looks inside. So in our configuration file, we see that all stories are located in source stories. Let's open it. And here we have this new folder stories. Here we can see that we have some default information to story. It's our first welcome part. And also we have another one button, story for button. Here you can see that we have two different stories. It's text, export text, and emoji button. Let's change it a bit. Right now we have our stories in different folder stories, but let's imagine that we have a huge amount of components, and for all components and all cases everything will be in one folder, and it looks not very nice. I prefer to split it in different components. So for example, we have layout component. It's a component we want to test with Storybook, so let's create here a folder stories, and we'll add everything what is related to this component. All stories will be stored here. So let's create I will copy. Okay, let's test it. First of all, we need to create an empty file index.js in stories, and we'll put some basic story empty. It's layout. Here we'll import our component layout and try to edit here with some small text. We would like to test it here, but right now we won't see any changes here because we need to change some configuration in our storybook. So let's open storybook and change this config. So we want to open not the stories folder, but we want to see everything. And here we want to check everything what is saved in stories folder. Let's change it to this one. And after that, the storybook will be automatically rebuilt, and let's check how it works. And here we see that we already have layout component, and here we see our text component. Right now it's without any props or any styles, and it loaded successfully. Let's add at least the first additional add-on. It's add-on for passing different props, and then we can test this component more, and then we will test this component much better. So to add these add-ons we need okay, so let's check what is this add-on. So let's open it and check how it should be configured. So we need edit. After that we can see that here is some simple configuration for each component, and also do not forget to import this add-on in addons.js file. Let's add it here while loading, and we can try this component here. Okay, so here we had a boolean property. Let's check it also in our component, because here we have the same property. Default value is false. This we do not need here. Okay, the next what we need to add the decorator with knobs. So how can we do it? We can add it right here. Right here in our source we will add the add decorator with knobs, and then we will reload, and right now it should work fine. Let's open our storybook. Reload storybook. We will reload it from the scratch and check how it works. Okay, it's reloaded, so we have our text component, and here we can see that we have this additional add-on, it knobs, with the property what we added. It's loading props and it's boolean, so we can check how it works. And here, as you see, when we click it's loading true, we see that this component is changed for loading state. It's what was expected. And so we can see that we have is loading props and it's boolean checkbox. So when we check it, we see that our component changed state for loading. It what was expected behavior. So let's check what we can do next. The next one I would like to add the story shot. So as we know, React has a snapshot testing. It takes a component, build it or mount it, and save a snapshot of this component to file, and then it can be checked if something was changed. So with Storybook we can do the same, but automatically. We don't need to create tests for each component. For each story it will be created automatically. So what do we need to do? Okay, so let's configure story shots for our application. So let's open documentation for story shot Addon, and let's do the following. First of all, we need to add the story shots to our dependencies. Let's install this module. Okay, the next we need to configure our config file, change it a bit. So let's copy and open the config file and change it for it. Okay, so the next step we need to install Babel plugin require context hook. It's required part. And to work with, we need to create a jest folder, and then we need to add the register context hook function, and it should help jest to run unit tests properly and create snapshots. So let's create this folder. Also here we can create a file with another name. I will put setup.js, it will be fine. And here in this file we will put the next code. It's configuration for enzyme adapter React 16, and this hook we added. I guess we need to install this one, this dependency. And the next important part is Babel configuration, because without this environment plugins part it won't work. So we need to add Babel rc file. And here in this file I will put the next code. It will be presets, plugin, and what we need is env test plugins React context hook and Babel plugin dynamic import node. It's required. Just leave it here. And here mentions that we need additional React test renderer. Let's add it, and then we will check how it works. Okay, and here we need to fix this error added by mistaken. Now we do not need this one. Okay, so let's try it. We can try to run yarn test, but I'm not sure if it will work, because we didn't configure package.json for just configuration. Our expected result is for components, source components. In our layout component in stories we have to see one file with snapshot. We need to see folder with snapshots. So we need here we see that we have error, so let's edit our just configuration. We will change package.json with the next lines. And so for just file we add the next configuration. So we need to add the setup file. It's React up polyfill just DOM. It will be fine. Also it's our setup.js file what we added. Collect coverage, yes. Collect coverage from, we added files which we need to check for coverage. Files for ignoring, we added threshold, but right now we can remove it. And for snapshot serializers we added clarify serializer, model path, environment, and for test match we added that in the storybook we have a spec.js file. We will add it, and let's add this file. It's additional file for proper testing and snapshot testing for storybook. So in this file we will add the next part. So we need in the storyshots we add some configuration. Just copy and paste, and let's try again. Yarn test. Okay, so here we can see that we can't override these properties. So what can we do? Let's eject our application, React application, and then try write what we need. We can see this command in package.json. So let's call it yarn eject, and then we will configure everything what we need. Okay, we had error, so we need to commit everything and then do this again. So okay, we committed everything. Let's run it again. Okay, so we ejected everything. Now we have the whole control, and now in package.json we can see that we have our just configuration, and we can override it. Setup files. Here let's add the section what we needed. It was, so let's add this command, and what we need another. Okay, let's try again yarn test. Okay, here we see that we have error with multiple configuration for Babel. Let's remove it from package.json section. So here we have preset React app. We will remove it because we have already this configuration in Babel RC file. Preset React. Okay, so let's try it again. Let's run test. Okay, we have no enzyme module. Let's edit. Let's run it again. So here we see a few errors with the snapshots that they are not the same. Let's update our snapshots with the U comment update. Okay, we see that we have 6 updated snapshots, and let's check if our component was updated. Let's open components, layout, stories. Okay, let's add the snapshot serializer to our package.json. It will be enzyme to JSON serializer. We will add it, and it should work much better for our snapshot tests. Okay, let's delete this test right now, and then we will find out what's wrong with it. Let's run it again. So we see that all tests are passed and everything is okay, but anyway, we don't see snapshots here. Okay, so I have finished configuration for layout component, and we can see that for stories we have folder snapshots where we can see snapshot for structures for layout component. So how can I did it? First of all, as I mentioned, we ejected our application React eject, and now we can edit everything what we needed. Also for package.json we updated JS configuration. What we need to know, it's setup files. We added JS setup.js file, and snapshot serializer is enzyme to JSON serializer. And test match, we added that it should check Storybook spec.js. So let's check this file, Storybook spec.js. We added and for stub.js we added this context hook, and after that everything works fine. So when we run yarn test, and also for yarn test I updated the default command from after ejecting. It's right now it's a test, just call just, and it runs everything what we need without these node scripts. So in our case we can delete scripts test file. It's right now it is useless, so we can delete it. And when we run all unit tests, we can see that we have all snapshots, and the last one works fine. So we configured Storybook snapshot testing, which is React Storyshots. Okay, the next step is configure the last add-ons what I mentioned. It's React Live Edit, Internationalization, and accessibility. Okay, so the next add-on we will add is accessibility. So let's check it. First of all, we need to install this module. Let's do it. The next we need to import this add-on to addons.js file. And the next we need to add this decorator. So we can import this module to our config.js file. And after that we will add the decorator. And after that we will add decorator, but first of all we need to import this function add decorator, and now we can add so let's check Storybook, run yarn Storybook again. So now we can see that we have a new add-on is accessibility. So if we will click it, we will see that the no violation. and we have two passes that everything works fine. So according to the latest rules of accessibility, our component is fine and we can use it. Okay, let's add the next add-on. It will be React Live Edit. So let's check it. Okay, let's install this component, this module. Next we'll import it to Addons, and next we need to configure our Storybook config.js. Open config.js. So let's import Live Edit and set options, and add these two lines to our code. So we call set options. It will be dark color theme and presets React, and also set addon live edit. Set addon we need to import from Storybook React. Okay, after that let's configure our stories. So open our component layout, stories, and let's add the part for live editing. So we need the import with live edit scope, and after that we can add the decorator and add the live source story. Okay, so let's add this live edit part. So we added the live decorator for edit. We added decorator with live edit scope. It's React, and we pass component what we're going to debug. It's layout component, and the next line is add the live source. We call it this story. It's the name of story, and then we return our component how it should work. Let's wait for rebuild and check our storybook. It doesn't work because we need to run it again from the scratch. Let's run again. So we restarted storybook. Let's load it, and here we can see that we have a live edit and live edit new add-on, but when we activate it, it doesn't work. But when we activate it right now, we can reload the widget, and we see that now we can edit, and it will work in live. It will be updated in live. So we can add something, and they see that even when we pass props in such a way, it works fine. But the issue is when we switch back, we need to always reload the page. But anyway, it works fine. And the last add-on we will add is for internationalization. So it works just if your component or application using internationalization provider from internationalization React internationalization library. And let's add this add-on to our application. Okay, so what we need to install Storybook add-on intro. The next one, we need to import it to addons.js file. And the next one, we need to configure our config.js file with the next data. So we need to set intel config and with intel decorator. And also we need to download a few additional modules and import them. It's for different locations. We can use it, copy that, and pass to our code. Then we need to add this locale data, and after that we need the messages. So we can find that we have messages and formats. Let's copy that, and we'll configure that into configuration and add the decorator. Okay, we will copy and paste that, and after that we can try to reload our storybook. Okay, let's reload everything from the scratch. So also we installed React Intel module, dependency and run it again, run Storybook again. So to solve the issue with React Internationalization, we need to change the version of React Intel to 2.8.0, because in the latest version they updated this module, and there are no such files such like local data. So just we updated version, we can run yarn install and run our application, and everything will work fine. So after that you can reload our storybook and open Localization Addon, and here you will see two languages for English and German. When you can switch it, and in case your application is using the React Internationalization, code will be changed here. And that's it. Thank you for watching.